All right. Welcome to the show. This is the Frankly Fantasy Football Podcast. We are your hosts, Frankie and Johnny. Hola, Francisco. How are you?
Hola, Johnny. How are you, good sir?
Welcome to the only podcast, the only fantasy football podcast that will not be talking about Taylor Swift this week, by the way.
Goddamn right.
You're welcome.
Damn right.
Although I do have to say one thing. I did see a video on Instagram that all the fans were waiting in Kansas City and that she escaped in a popcorn machine, big metal tube. Did you see that?
No, that's nuts.
They had some workers like gently carrying out this big metal, looked like a coffin. And they said they thought Taylor Swift was inside so nobody could see her leaving Kelsey's box. When usually it's Kelsey leaving her. No, I'm not going to say that. Never mind. We'll keep it clean for this podcast. It's for kids, for fuck's sake. All right, welcome to the show, everyone. We've got a great show for you guys today. Today we are doing our week 3 ice and fire. Let's see who was on ice and let's see who was smoking hot. We had some of the hottest shit I have ever seen in my life this past week. Can't wait to talk about that. And then we're going to end today's episode with our Thursday night football preview, which promises to be a banger. I think it's going to be great, man. But first, as always, we're going to get in some news, baby.
The season don't expect
News and notes.
Okay, some good news for Browns fans, Frankie. We were really sad and upset and hurt physically, emotionally, mentally,
spiritually.
All of that. Spiritually, yes. I talked to my shaman and my guru about it, and I'm feeling better, yes. Nick Chubb, running back from the Browns, terrible, terrible knee injury. What they found out, he tore his MCL, and it's a partial ACL tear. Yeah. Not nearly as bad as they thought it was going to be in the beginning. That's great news. It's about a 6 to 9 month recovery. That's a great sign. That just means that this is most likely not threatening his career. He's come back from an injury like this before. I think this is something that he'll have a slow start probably of next year, but I think he's going to be good to go. Everything looks good there. Jerome Ford, let's talk about that. He came in for Nick Chubb, 2 touchdowns. Look good.
Look good.
Yeah, look pretty good. What are you doing with him moving forward? The reason I'm asking you that is I ended up paying a lot of money. I paid like $65 in fab for him. Yep. I needed somebody. I had 2 running backs and one of them was Saquon. He was going to be out. I needed it. I'm not planning on him for the entire season. I'm looking for the quick fix. I look week to week. That's how I do my rosters and my teams. How do you feel about him moving forward, knowing that they got Baltimore this week, then a bye, and then San Francisco?
John, for me personally, I'm looking to sell Jerome Ford like 100%. And the reason being is not just because of the matchups that they have coming along and Kareem Hunt also being a part of the game plan, which was a little bit more than what I even thought he was going to be. And he looked good while he was out there. Here's why, John. For me personally, I think it's the way the offense is going to look. Right now, I think that we're trending towards more of a spread offense, and it's definitely playing into Deshaun's wheelhouse a little bit more than that of a power formation or more of outside the tackle running. Right now, Deshaun wants to spread the ball. He likes empty set a bit more. Therefore, that is not Jerome Ford's that power. That's not his motto, is what I'm trying to say. That is Kareem Hunt's motto. We've seen Kareem Hunt flexed out. So for me, John, the way the offense is going, the change and everything, I don't think Jerome Ford's bad if you decide to keep him, by the way, guys. I just think you can get a lot more for him right now and then feel really good about the decision either way you look at it. That's my positioning on this. It's not just Kareem Hunt. It's also the fact that the offense is starting to completely change its look.
I agree. I think that's why Deshaun had such a good game. They were trying to fit a round peg in a square hole, or is that how it works? Something like that. But they were trying to make Deshaun fit into the Cleveland system, and that wasn't working, man. Mm-mm. And I agree. They're spreading it out. They're playing his game. I still think he's a massive volume play. He's still going to get a ton of volume.
Totally.
They're still going to be up in games with that defense, and they're going to run the ball. My thing is just specifically for my team. I don't need to play him every week. Therefore, I don't want to sit on him for 2 weeks because I'm not starting. He's got to bye next week, and then he's got the San Francisco defense. I don't love that. I'm looking for a different option for that. So I just don't like having a player sit on my bench for 3 weeks. That's all I'm looking at. Yeah. Okay, we did have a couple of injuries here. The biggest injury was Mike Williams, wide receiver for the Los Angeles Chargers.
He gone.
Did tore an ACL. He gone. He is out for the season. Also, Chargers-related news: Austin Ekeler. The wording is not great coming out of LA for that. I mean, they were like, "Well, we're going to give it a few weeks and check it out." And it's like, holy shit, it's already been a few weeks.
John, I think this is also a contract thing. I think there's prodding and positioning happening from Austin Ekeler's side just as much as it is from the Chargers side. I think that they want to basically show, look how bad Joshua Kelly's doing. Look at why you didn't pay me, and now look at the backup. Right? Austin Ekeler's positioning himself to get his last payday, right? Or maybe actually his first payday. And so I can't knock Austin Ekeler, but I also think he is injured. I think that there is a part of obviously him being hurt, but to the level of degree, I don't really know. And it's kind of interesting to see how this unfolds.
That's pretty nefarious to think that he's, staying out to get fully healthy because of the contract. But
this is also the guy that rounded up all the running backs to have a sit-down conversation with all of them as well. And again, it's a leap. I agree with you. I totally agree. But I don't know if it's completely false, if that makes sense.
No, if that's not his mindset, it's at least looking that way because they see it now and they need him so badly. Wow. And we'll get to Josh Kelly here shortly. Don't worry. Is he going to be on ice or is he going to be on fire? I think he's going to be on ice. Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy Gorgeous. God, is he the most beautiful man ever? Jeez, you put Jimmy G's face on DK Metcalf's body. Oh, baby.
You'll be switching sides real quick.
I'm telling you what, I'll be flying my freak flag, baby. It's going to be over, man. Yeah. Jimmy G in the concussion protocol. Keep an eye on that. No news as of yet as what's going on there. This injury is a little bit significant, at least for him. Derek Carr, quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, suffered an AC joint sprain. It looked bad. It's not as bad as they thought. Frankie, you've got a little experience here with AC joint sprains, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've had 2 shoulder reconstructions and an AC joint sprain. It is not fun.
Yeah, except yours was it was playing on an 8-foot basketball hoop though, wasn't it? It wasn't playing.
You're giving me a little credit. It was like a little kid's one. I, tried to dunk on it. My arm got stuck and no. For those listening, I played football like a man, like a big, strong man. All right.
All right. Derek Carr, he's going to be out. It's 2 to 4 weeks. I've listened to a lot of people talk, some medical experts. If they had to put an exact week on it, they'd say 3, but we're looking at 2 to 4 weeks. So he is going to be out for a few. Jameis Winston coming in now. Talk to me about what this does to the offense.
For those watching or listening to that weird noise, that was me making the W with my hand and me eating it like Winston does, and he's going to eat some W's. John, for me, what this does to the team, man, I think that this actually won't change much. For that of Mike Thomas, for that of Olave, for even Alvin Kamara coming back. Actually, I see them potentially. Is it crazy to say I see them maybe getting fed more deep balls? And I say that because Jameis Winston is notorious. And he's known for throwing 50-50 shots down the field. We saw it with Mike Evans. I think, right, and I'm crazy, and this is a big pull here, John, but I think he's like the first quarterbacks ever to throw 50 touchdowns with like 30 interceptions or something crazy like that. It was a few years back with the Bucs. It's a deep pull there. I'll have to go back and check that. But long story short, what I'm getting at is throwing the ball deep and far down the field. It's giving his receivers an opportunity to make a play, right? Derek Carr's a little bit more precision passing, things like that. So for Mike Thomas and Chris Olave, guys that are running down the field and doing some of these longer routes, shit, man, this could be really interesting to see how this unfolds. Again, hopefully the line keeps up, but Alvin Kamara coming back this week is going to make things a little bit more interesting, especially from the running game. So I think Jameis could actually be pretty interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, and Olave's played very well, but he hasn't scored a touchdown yet.
Right.
And he's a great deep ball route runner. So this could be beneficial. I agree. I don't think it makes the Saints better, but I do think it may make some of the fantasy assets better.
I agree. Totally agree.
It's probably 50 for 50, 50 touchdowns, 50 picks. That sounds like him.
Yeah, something along those lines, John.
Yeah, news out of the Jets. Have the Jets made a decision here? They're not going to stick with their man? The Jets sign quarterback Trevor Siemian. Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, awesome. Great move. Good. We can start Garrett Wilson again. Trevor Siemian's here. Thank God.
Super Bowl contenders.
I think they're just bringing him on as backup in depth. They're going to have to make a move here, man. This team is absolutely pitiful. I'm at the point where I don't even know. I don't think you can start Garrett Wilson. I mean, you've got him and you've got to. You just have to hope that he gets into the end zone. But Jesus, man. I mean,
it's ugly.
It's ugly. It's ugly. All right. And we'll get off the Jets. That's still depressing. A lot of guys to monitor here, everyone. Not obviously, it's early in the week. We don't have a lot of info on practices yet, but keep an eye on these guys. They could be back this week. Aaron Jones is trending well, so keep an eye on him. He does play on Thursday Night Football, though, so you're going to have to take a look at that today and tomorrow. Saquon Barkley with an ankle plays on Monday night. Because he's on Monday night, he's got a chance to play. David Montgomery with a thigh, still questionable. Jalen Waddle in concussion protocol. Gus Edwards in concussion protocol. Jonathan Mingo, concussion protocol. Every week we're going to have a handful of guys in the concussion protocol, and you're just going to have to watch things. Rashad Bateman, I mean, the guy's just always hurt. He's got a hamstring injury right now.
Pillar of health.
Doesn't look good. I mean, Christian Watson, we have not seen him play yet. I want to see Christian Watson on the field with the way that Jordan Love's been playing. God damn it, please play. Not likely it's looking this week, but keep an eye on him. I'd love to get him out there ASAP.
And John,
all right, Frankie.
One quick call out, guys. For those of you who have Saquon Barkley, John, you have him, and a couple other folks in our league. My brother has him. Guys, if you are planning on firing him up, please pick up his backup. Just in case, because it is Monday Night Football, you do not have another option. Okay, so just a reminder out there, if this is your game plan, knowing the waiver wire is going to be coming out right in the next few days, make plans accordingly, just in case. I've seen it happen. I've seen you get bit or others get bit. I've gotten bit. Just a quick call out. If you're planning on Saquon, just have a backup plan in place.
Absolutely. I'm going to be doing that as well, because they could come out Monday and it's already too late and say that he had a setback and warm-ups and can't play.
Exactly.
Be prepared for that. So have a guy, even if it's a jag, just a guy. Have someone available that's playing in that Monday night game. Might be the second or third string running back for one of these teams, but at least you're not going to have a big goose egg. All right, let's get to Frankie and Johnny's Song of Ice and Fire. This just gets me pumped up every single time.
Every time.
Absolutely. Every time. I just want to grab my sword off the goddamn wall back there and go to battle.
You have to.
All right, I'm going to. All right, ice. Let's see who's frozen here. Let's look at some quarterbacks. Okay. All right, Daniel Jones. He got the treatment. We knew it was going to be brutal. It was going to be ugly, and it sure as hell was.
Really
that
bad.
San Francisco 49ers defense. It's really hard to start people against them right now. Daniel Jones, 3 points. He did what he could do, but nothing there. Speaking of a smothering defense, Ryan Tannehill, welcome to the ice block, my man. Courtesy of our Cleveland Browns defense, just completely destroyed. I mean, Tannehill it's panic mode for all of the Titans offense right now.
Big time.
Negative points for Ryan Tannehill, courtesy of the Browns defense. Joe Burrow, these two quarterbacks here, they're not necessarily frozen solid. Joe Burrow with 7 points. Concerning, though. I mean, he's working his way back slowly. Didn't throw any touchdowns. That's a concern. No question about it. Hopefully you didn't start him last week. I knew he was questionable to play and he could have played. Hopefully you made other plans. There are streamers. These guys are hurt. You don't want to throw these guys out there that are hurt like that. You can find streaming quarterbacks that'll suffice for you. Here's another guy. I'm putting the panic button on big time, smashing that panic button. Justin Fields, man. He had 10 points. He ended up putting together a little bit there, but that's not what you drafted Justin Fields for. And this whole offense is just a hot fucking mess. It's a dumpster fire, man. What are you doing with the entire Bears offense in a fantasy league with right now?
It's so ugly. It's so ugly. And John, like starting with Justin Fields, I mean, guys, he was 11 for 22 for 99 yards and a touchdown, but he also had an interception and he had 11 carries for 47 yards. The 47 yards is what gave him the ability to have that 10-point game in addition to that touchdown. I mean, outside of that, did nothing through the air. And so, John, when you talk to me or when you ask me about the Bears, yeah, man, I'm freaking out a little bit. I mean, the only guy at this point in time that I'm even comfortable, and I'm saying that uncomfortably, is DJ Moore. And DJ Moore right now, you better hope and pray that he's your receiver 2, maybe your receiver 3 or your flex. Because if you're rolling out there and he's your receiver 1, you might need to be looking at some trades because you need to bolster your receiving core a bit more. Because, John, I am shocked right now at what I'm seeing from the Bears. I mean, preseason and the hype offseason and watching the connection with these two and just the Bears offense as a whole, it was a complete, I don't want to say fluke, but it hasn't been, it's been abysmal. And so I don't know what's going to happen here, man. I could see an OC change before they change Justin Fields. I could see something crazy happening. Maybe the head coach is gone, but something needs to drastically change in order for anybody in the Bears to be any sort of fantasy relevant, including that of Justin Fields.
And it's Justin Fields' job as well. They've got potentially, if they suck this year, they could have 2 picks in the top 5, I think it is, something like that.
Some good quarterbacks coming up,
There's
buddy.
some damn good quarterbacks coming up. So and he started slow last year. I know that. And, it took him a while to get going, but this looks bad. I mean, this is not what you drafted Justin Fields for. And you're in trouble. You can't trade him. What are you going to get for him? You have to sit on him or you're going to have to stream him. I would start Matthew Stafford. I would start Jared Goff. I would start
Jordan Love.
Winston, for fuck's sake. Jameis Winston, I would start over Justin Fields right now. You just can't do it. All right, let's get to some running backs here.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to start with the Jets running backs, both of them. This is brutal. We were hoping that it would help the Jets running backs, but it's just they're so one-dimensional right now. All you have to do is shut these 2 guys down, and little fucking Mormon kid can't do anything. Can you? I honestly think if you had to drop Dalvin Cook, I think you could.
I agree.
I'd hold on to him, but I think you can because I don't want to ever start Dalvin Cook. Right.
I think this is an interesting. I think Dalvin Cook right now is an interesting trade piece, and I say that because I think his standalone value is poor, but I think if you pair him with a receiver 2 or something along those lines to get a better increased receiver 2, or dare I say, a better running back or something like that, I think it's feasible. And so, John, to your point, I think there's enough name value there is what I'm getting at. And so for me, guys, if you have Dalvin Cook, now is the time to be looking to see what you can get for him. Maybe you don't make a trade, but you need to start testing, the market out there for what your league is valuing this at. Because if it's a 14-man league, John, and somebody comes at me and offers me Dalvin Cook with the receiver 2 to maybe get, a slightly better running back or a receiver 2 on another end that they might feel is better, I might make that trade and just sit on him and see what happens. Because maybe Trevor Siemian does come and play and maybe he does look somewhat better. Or maybe they bring in a Carson Wentz on top of this and do something absolutely absurd. And then that changes things a bit. So for me, completely agree with you in every way, shape, or form. Breece Hall, 12 for 18 or 12 rushes for 18 yards, 2 points. Dalvin Cook, 8 rushes for 18 yards, 4 points. That's terrible. And it's not going to get better unless there's a drastic change to the offense. And I think Salah's positioning for that. So for me, man, it's interesting. I agree with you, but also if I have Dalvin Cook, I'm trying to offload him as ASAP, or at least scoping the market right now.
Yeah, and the next 3 games we've got with the Jets, Kansas City, at Denver, Philly, and then a bye. And
Denver's interesting. Chiefs are brutal.
Denver's only interesting because of what Miami did. They hadn't played defense like that ever again. I don't know if that's a fluke or if we're going to start starting every running back nonstop against Denver's D. I don't know. We need another week to see that one.
I agree.
That was weird as hell. All right. On ice with running backs, Joshua Kelly. We touched on it. Big spending, big spend in the waiver wire for this guy. played well in week 1 with Austin Ekeler. Ekeler goes down and he does absolutely nothing. He had 11 rushes for 12 yards. What are you doing with Josh Kelly? Can you drop him?
Yeah, totally. I mean, drop him, try to package up together a trade, maybe do a classic Frank sandwich and a 3-for-1 and get that puppy rolling. Totally, though. Like, guys, he is not that good. And it's not disrespectful in any way, shape, or form. It's just from a fantasy perspective, he's not that good. And so you look at the value of some of these other guys out there, and maybe you can pick up a Roschon Johnson, who has the ability to potentially be the Bears' back at the back half of this season. Or maybe you have the ability to pick up, another individual that like a Tajay Spears that could end up seeing double the playing time. So for me, John, I just am not high on Joshua Kelly moving forward until I'm proven otherwise, because right now he was riding the Austin Ekeler train a little bit and relieving him while that defense was on their heels from Austin Ekeler. It opens up things a lot more compared to now without Austin Ekeler there, and now without Mike Williams there. I think this is just going to add even more issue or insult to injury, should I say, for the running backs for the Chargers.
Yeah, and if you're absolutely desperate for running back, you could play him this week with your eyes closed and your fingers crossed. They're playing at home against Vegas, the Raiders. Not a good run defense.
I was going to say, it's a good matchup for sure.
It's a good matchup. Yeah, you just have to hope. But if you don't need him, get rid of him. They got to bye the week after in week 5. So don't let him clog your roster. All right, right here, man. You want to talk about a trade candidate in both the NFL and in fantasy. King Henry, man. Derrick Henry. You love Derrick Henry.
Love him.
I called for his demise. Of course, I've done it the past 4 years, so I had to just commit to it at this point. What do you do with Derrick Henry? 11 rushes, 20 yards. The Browns just ate his ass. What do you do with him?
I'm gobbling him up. I'm trading for Derrick Henry. I am buying Derrick Henry at the cheapest fucking price you can get Derrick Henry, and I want his ass on my team. And I'll tell you why, guys. First and foremost, week 1, he had 63 yards rushing. He had 56 yards receiving on 2 receptions, had almost 13 total points in half PPR. Week 2, 17 points in half PPR. He ended up having 80 yards rushing. He had 3 receptions, added a touchdown, and 15 receiving yards, equates to 17 fantasy points. John, I think, and that was against the Chargers, and game 1 was against the New Orleans Saints. Guys, what this tells me is that it's still Derrick Henry's there. I know, Johnny, you're jumping off that train. I'm still on this train. But what this also shows is how dominant the Cleveland Browns defense actually is. And guys, I'm not saying that because I'm a homer. I'm truly saying that by the stats. The stats are unreal. They're first in every category, right? They've only given up, John, I want to say it was just over, I think it was like 24 or 34 first downs. I'll have to go back and look at that over the course of the season thus far. That's absurd. That's not even normal. That's so far beyond normal. That's insane. So for me, man, I think that this is a perfect opportunity to buy that of Derrick Henry, especially when they have the Bengals, who, yeah, they were tough. They're a tough defensive front. I'm not saying that they're not, but they have the Bengals, but then they have the Colts, then they have Baltimore, then they have a bye. And then after the bye, it gets real interesting. And so for me, man, this could be a very, very optimal opportunity to buy a top talent like that of Derrick Henry for cheap.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans really struggle for these next couple of games, even after the bye. I could see them trading Derrick Henry to a team.
Totally.
He's clearly not your future. You might as well get something out of him when you can. And there's going to be suitors. There's going to be teams calling.
Yes.
No question about it. Yeah. So really interesting. So you could trade for him and he goes to another team and ends up winning you your league. That's absolutely a possibility. All right, let's move on. Khalil Herbert, I'm just going to touch on because the whole backfield, the whole team with the Chicago Bears is a dumpster fire. 7 for 31, less than 2 points. Let's get to some receivers here. My favorite wide receiver is Kadarius Toney. This is the guy you and I have argued about all year, Frankie. I'm not on the Kadarius Toney bandwagon. I don't like Jack. I don't like, what do you call it? The jack of all trades guys, the cute gadget players,
yep.
Yeah, the Swiss Army
utility
knight.
Yep.
Yeah, utility knight. Yeah, I don't like those kind of guys. He can pop off. He hasn't yet, though. 1 catch for -1 yard. All right, T. Higgins. This is a buy low candidate. I think he's just going to have some ups and downs here. T. Higgins on ice this week, two catches, 21 yards, 3 points. Buy low on him. I mean, it's a Joe Burrow problem. It's playing good defense's problem. Yeah. These two guys, I'm hitting the panic button on. Absolutely. These are guys I really liked in the offseason for breakout potential, and I'm freaking out now. I mean, these are guys you can't even have. You cannot start these guys, and it's only going to take me another 2 weeks until I say, you know what, drop them. Unless they do something. Jahan Dotson, 2 catches, 21. Drake London, 2 catches for 31 yards. It's just brutal. These guys have 2 of the worst quarterbacks in the league right now with Desmond Ridder and Sam Howell. Yeah, Sam Howell he was terrible. He looked really bad. I don't want to start a guy hoping this is the week that he gets his shit together because we've never seen it yet. All right, tight end. My champion of champions, Darren Waller. I know, man. That's the San Francisco defense, I just want to see him healthy and play a normal team and see what actually happens. I just feel like this poor Giants team, they win their first 3 games. It's brutal. I mean, fuck who they play next, Cleveland at this point. I mean, it's just brutal, man. With the Cowboys and with the 49ers, Jesus, just get these guys a break. Darren Waller only had 3 catches for 20 yards, 3 points. All right. Let's get now to fire.
Yeah, baby.
Frankie, let's talk about some fire here, man. Why don't you, all right, on fire, let's do this. I think every other week, we're going to just talk about the entire Dolphins offense. Okay. Yep. Can you please just break down the historical moment that we all witnessed this weekend?
Unbelievably incredible. Guys, none of us, nobody in here has seen anything remotely close to what we saw on Sunday. 70 fucking points. 70. And Mike Daniels let up. He stopped. He basically stopped. And it was nothing short of a pure ass beating. No matter what they did, it was flawless. No matter who was having the ball in their hands, they were making plays. Guys, the top 3 out of the top 4 fantasy plays out of the entire week was from the Dolphins. Number 1, John. Number 1, I'm just going to lump them all in together, was Devon Achane. Devon Achane was the number 1 player in fantasy football this week. Guys, he had 54.3 points in half PPR. He had 203 yards rushing. He had 30 receiving yards. He also ended up having, what was it, John? 2 rushing touchdowns and 2 receiving touchdowns. I mean, this guy was absolutely nuts. And you know what's crazy is this isn't even that mind blowing because the way Mike Daniels was talking about him, it was as if we expect this from him. We've seen it every day at practice. This is just, right next to Mostert, which is just absolutely incredible, which brings us to number 2. Number 2 is Raheem Mostert, right? I just named off the Dolphins' backup as number 1. Now, number 2 is Raheem Mostert. Guys, he had 82 yards rushing, 60 yards receiving, 7 receptions, 3 rushing touchdowns, and 1 receiving touchdown. That is the backfield alone for the Miami Dolphins. And then
both running backs had 4 touchdowns.
That's crazy, John. That's I've never seen anything like it in my entire life.
Anything like that? That's bananas.
The Giants don't even have 8 touchdowns on the year, let alone in one game. You think about that. That's crazy. And then, John, you layer in Tua. Tua right now, I'm just gonna say it. He's the leader in MVP race. I don't think it's fucking close. I really don't think it's close to this point in time. The way he's commanding this offense, his pinpoint accuracy, he's getting everybody involved. He's making sound decisions. Guys, Tua Tagovailoa had 309 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, a 155.8 passer rating. Is
that the best?
Unbelievable.
What's the best? How high does it go?
I think that's it. I'm not even joking. I think that's it. And John, this is so exciting because we've actually never seen this. And so it's just absolutely tip of the cap to the Dolphins. Absolutely.
If you started only Dolphins on your fantasy football team, you would have scored over 200 points.
It's incredible.
Just Dolphins. It's crazy. I know. It's absolutely crazy. All right. Well, let me ask you this while we're on Dolphins. We just had, I had Devon Achane on my bench score almost 60 points on my bench. What do we do now?
You sit and wait.
What do you do now? I mean, first of all, let's talk to people that are staring at him on the waiver wire.
You definitely
pick shit.
Yep.
Do you go all in?
Yep. I would say if you were one of those people that thought you were going to go in on Ford, I would recommend you go in that way with A-Chain because he's a lot more explosive. He's a little bit younger. And Raheem Mostert, in my soul, I do not believe that he can handle a full year workload. So I would recommend that. Yes.
Yeah, I think Raheem Mostert's never been the pillar of health ever. He does play. He's good. He doesn't play that often. He can't stay on the field. That leaves Devon Achane. Not only that, they've got Jeff Wilson that'll be back off of IR at some point. They'll mix in all these guys, but it doesn't mean that they're not going to all have value.
Right.
As we just saw, I think they're going to continue with that 1-2 punch. Achane clearly has earned his way into the roster for
Definitely.
more snaps. Can you flex him? What would you do with them? Do you put him in as an RB2 or a flex? We got bye weeks coming up. People are going to need to do something.
The Bills is their next game. And it is a really tough matchup at Buffalo. This is not going to be Denver coming to their house to Miami. It's 100 degrees. You've played in the 100-degree heat before. Denver has not this year. And so, right, that all factors into this as well. So now you're telling me you're going to go into Buffalo and try to do the same shit when they're watching this film? Absolutely not. It's not going to fly. So for me, I would be actually hesitant to start Devon Achane even after this, John, because I don't know if this was an anomaly or if this, which it was. Like, let's just say that the entirety of what happened was an anomaly. But moving forward, for actually what he can produce on a week-to-week basis, I need to see a little bit more because this was so left field. You don't even know how to evaluate this.
You can't look at snap percentage. You can't look at, attempts and all of that stuff just because the game was so out of control.
So out of control.
I mean, the game, you can't write that game script. I mean, who the hell knows? You're right. Against Buffalo, at Buffalo, I'm probably not playing him yet unless I'm decimated by injury and I don't have any other option. But if he can get the snaps, he can get a little juice going against Buffalo. Then they're at home for 2 weeks in a row against the Giants and the Panthers. And I definitely would look at firing him up there. So good things ahead for you if you missed out on Devon Achane sitting on your bench. It's not going to be, he's not going to be scoring 60 points on my bench for very much longer. Let's put it that way. All right. Well, let's look at some quarterbacks here, Frank. We got the Miami guys out of the way here. Let's look at some quarterbacks here. Number 2 on the list for quarterbacks is Justin Herbert. 34 points out of Herbert. I mean, just slinging the ball. By the way, he was 40 for 47. That's pretty goddamn good.
That's incredible.
That's pretty goddamn good. Yeah. Number 3 on the list, Patrick Mahomes. He's just going to be in the top 3 to 5 every single week. He just gets it done, man. Number 4, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins continues. Kirk Cousins is the number 1 quarterback on the year, I believe. Is that right? Or is he right behind Tua, I think? But
no, he's number 1.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins still continuing to do it here. Number 5 on the week.
What?
This one's fun. Andy Dalton.
Red Rocket.
The Red Rocket came.
He's back.
Put all my fab in. I'm going for the Red Rocket. Let's go. Number 6, Jordan Love, CJ Stroud, and Josh Allen at 8. Really interesting here, though. You're looking at these are all pocket passers, Frank. These are not the guys that we all went crazy for because they run the ball and have that rushing floor. These are all pocket passers that are absolutely killing it, man. I love that. All right, let's look at some running backs here. Of course, we got the Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert, 54 points, 41 points. Absolutely absurd. This is nice to see. Kenneth Walker III, KW3 for the Seattle Seahawks, 29 points out of him. Great week. Zach Moss coming in number 4. 22 points out of Zach Moss. That's a guy you can trade him. I would absolutely try to trade him if you absolutely can, because JT's coming back not this week, but next week. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. After week 5.
Yeah. Okay. Number 5, Christian McCaffrey. He's going to always just live in that top 5 range. Then we got James Conner with 18 points, Jerome Ford with 18 points, Jerick McKinnon with 16 points. Jerick McKinnon had 3 catches, and 2 of them were touchdowns. So don't get too excited about the Jerick McKinnon. That's going to happen. That's not something you should be banking on here. All right, let's get some receivers here. Now, I'm going to talk about the first guy here in receiver. A lot of people slept on him, Frankie, and we talked about this in the offseason and draft season. Everybody wants the new hotness, the new freshness, the young guys. Keenan Allen, just absolutely going to work this year. And he went to work last week. 40 damn points out of Keenan Allen, 18 catches on 20 targets, 215 yards, man. I mean, just absolutely bananas. Oh, and then let's just throw in there, he threw a 50-yard touchdown,
How about
49-yard touchdown to Mike Williams.
Awesome.
I mean,
so
I've got Keenan Allen in 2 leagues, and that shocked the shit out of me. I couldn't believe it, man. That was beautiful. All right, yeah, Keenan Allen. I mean, obviously, keep starting him. This guy's absolutely incredible. Trade for him. He's with the Mike Williams injury. That offense is running through Keenan Allen right
Definitely.
now. And there's no reason to think that's going to change anytime soon. All right, Frankie, why don't you talk about your boy at number 2 here, man?
John, we're talking about Devontae Adams. He is back, baby. Well, and I called this walking in, and I put my money where my mouth is. I drafted him in 1 league, back half of first round. He's dominating 20 targets, 13 receptions, 172 yards, and 2 tutties. Devontae Adams continues to be Devontae Adams, Sean. Absolutely.
He's on fire. I mean, when you watch him play, I go, Jesus Christ. He just looks
So
like
good.
the best receiver in the league. He literally does it all. It's crazy. Yeah, he's amazing. All right, number 3, Tyreek Hill, the freak. Again, Miami. I mean, everybody forgot about Tyreek. He had 157 yards and a touchdown with 9 catches, and nobody gave a shit.
Who cares?
All right, this guy, I'll give it to him. Okay, I'm going to give it to him, Frankie. We argue about this guy as well. The old man, Adam Thielen. Give him his props. He's on fire.
He's on fire, man. And this is a guy that I even put my neck on the line for and literally listed him as one of my top sleepers. And I got so much shit from so many of you listening and watching. Yeah.
From
you
me?
know what? Listen to this, guys. He's the number 9 receiver on the year this far. His fantasy points went from 2 to 16.9 to 27. This past week, he had 11 receptions on 14 targets, 145 yards and a touchdown against Seattle Seahawks. It was a beautiful game script for him to have this type of game, John. But what I love even more is he continues to be a pillar of consistency when he is playing. That is why I like Adam Thielen.
All right. Yeah, I can't argue with you, Frank. After Adam Thielen, we've got Justin Jefferson. Another great game, 26 points. Finally got in the end zone. You got to love that. Tank Dell. Talk to me a little bit about Tank Dell, Frankie. He's going to be a waiver wire darling this week.
Well, he won't be in our league because somebody already picked him up and started him this week. So, John, absolutely, Tank Dell is definitely this rookie who is exploding. John, we even, when we were doing the rookie review, I even told you, I go, I'm going to regret not putting Tank Dell as an honorable mention. I even said that after we recorded because I believe in this cat. The reason why is because when he was being drafted, the GM of the Houston Texans looked at CJ Stroud and goes, who would you want to throw the ball to? In the second round, they decided to go with Tank Dell. And I love that. So for me, man, I think Tank Dell is going to be something that's pretty incredible. Guys, he had 7 targets he had 5 receptions on 7 targets for 145 yards and a touchdown. He's continuously looking explosive, playing alongside Nico Collins, which I think is great. It gives him the ability not to have to, be that number 1 guy and things like that. So for me, man, and you have Dalton Schultz as a tried and true tight end there, and Dameon Pierce. I'll tell you what, this Houston team might make some waves if CJ Stroud can be the CJ Stroud that they drafted from Ohio State. If he ends up panning out, John, look out, because this team could be a lot of fun with the way their defense is also playing.
He looks good. I mean, he does like an NFL quarterback. He's playing very, very well. That's a really good sign. Yeah, there's going to be fantasy value with this Houston Texans team. A couple of honorable mentions here. Mike Williams, God rest his soul, this year, 23 points. Deebo Samuel, 23. Amari Cooper, 23. Jamar Chase, 21. A.J. Brown back in the mix at 18. Couple of tight ends we'll mention real quick. Hey, we talked about it. Is this the year that the stigma on rookie tight ends is over?
Yep.
Could be. It could be. Sam Laporta, tight end for the Detroit Lions. Number 1 on the week. I had him on one of my teams. I was so happy. Oh, my God. 19 points out of him. You got to love that. Listen, the guy's part of the offense. This isn't a fluke thing. Most times tight ends, you're just looking for a lottery ticket, see who can get a touchdown that week. This guy's he's part of the offense. This is a very good high-flying offense, and they running plays intentionally for him constantly. 8 receptions,
11 targets. Yeah.
84 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that's gold for a tight end. Travis Kelce at number 2 with 16. Pharaoh Brown. Who? In the picture, if you look him up on Sleeper, he's still in a Browns uniform because he was like the 4th tight end on the Browns. But yeah, Pharaoh Brown, don't get excited about that. He's the 3rd tight end on the team. He was in for 2 catches, and they both happen to be touchdowns. So that's why he's on the list. Donald Parham, same thing. Backup tight end for the Chargers. He backs up Gerald Everett. He's got 3 touchdowns on the year, and I think he has 5 catches. So just put that into perspective, okay? He had 13 points. George Kittle, the up and down roller coaster ride. One week it's going to be him, one week he's going to goose you, but he's got 13 this week, so that's great. Pat Freiermuth, 11. Evan Ingram with 10. All right, Frankie, let's take a little gander and look at the Thursday night football preview this week. We've got the Detroit Lions traveling in conference to the Green Bay Packers. The Lions are favored by 1 with an over-under of 46. So it's basically a pick'em game. This is going to be a great divisional game, man. I'm really excited about it. Talk to me about the Lions here and what you're thinking.
John, this is going to be really, really interesting because this Packers defense isn't bad. And so, but the Lions offense is phenomenal. And so I think that this could actually end up being a pretty fun game to watch. From the Lions perspective, you got to stay tried and true with Jahmyr Gibbs. You got to keep holding on. He did not put up a very good fantasy type of stat line, but from an NFL perspective, he was so good, and it was good to watch him play at an extremely high level. So it's coming, guys. Be patient. I promise it's going to break. This dude is going to have a great game. But John, in terms of who are we looking at, it's Sam Laporta, and I'm just going to lump these two in together because they're both rookie tight ends. I'm looking at the opposite end too with Luke Musgrave. Fire both of these guys up. They are both doing excellent. These are guys that should be rostered. They should be started, and enjoy seeing them play on a Thursday night game against each other in a rivalry type of matchup. So I love Sam Laporta this week. And then there's the obvious, Amon-Ra St. Brown if he's healthy. And then for me, you absolutely need to fire up Jared Goff. The way he's been playing, the touchdown machine that he's been, the way he's throwing the ball around, and they're leaning way more on the pass than they are on the run right now. I am definitely loving Jared Goff as well.
Love that, man. David Montgomery is going to be questionable, so we're not sure if he's going to start. Probably not, being a Thursday game. Very not likely. Backup is Craig Reynolds. Do you have any interest in him?
No, not right now. It's nothing against Craig Reynolds. It's just like he's the third. I just see Jahmyr Gibbs taking the load and him kind of being the reliever at that point.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. Let's look at the Green Bay side. What do you like with the Green Bay side?
John, I'll tell you what. This is crazy, but I'm a huge Jordan Love fan. I really think the kid he's beaten all expectations. One of the things I go back to, man, is you asked me a few weeks ago, would you start Jordan Love? And my answer was, I don't know, and I don't think so, because I need to see him play. Well, after 3 weeks, I can tell you, fire his ass up. He has been playing lights out. And then looking at the receiving core, John, this is where it gets difficult for the Packers, because if Christian Watson comes in and plays, which I don't think he will due to it being a Thursday night, then you're looking at Romeo Doubs. You're also looking at Jaden Reed. You're also looking at potentially a few others. For me, man, I kind of like Jaden Reed. I kind of like what this rookie's doing and how he's been performing. Guys, here's what he's done the last 2 games. Jaden Reed, right, this past week had 7 targets. 7. He caught 3 of them for 63 yards in their win over New Orleans Saints. That's a great stat line in half PPR. That's 8 points. And then the previous week against Atlanta, he ended up having 37 receiving yards for 2 touchdowns on 4 receptions. What I'm getting at, man, is this guy might be being slept on a bit. I think Jordan Love is starting to find his niche with maybe that of Jaden Reed, a little bit more than what most people would have thought. And the thing is, I don't know if it's due to Christian Watson being out or if it actually is something that's real. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this receiving core. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. And in my deep league, John, in a 14-man, I'm going to start Jaden Reed.
Yeah, that is ballsy.
Over Dotson.
Yeah. Now that I agree.
Over Dotson.
Why not throw out a little more hope with something that this isn't happening right now. You're going to have to shift there. Over Drake London as well.
Yeah, you have to. You have to at this point.
Yeah. His snaps have been going up 53%, 56%, 66% this last week. So yeah, if Christian Watson doesn't play, I don't mind that play at all.
Yeah.
I really want Christian Watson to play.
I do too.
I really want to see. I think he's going to make Jordan Love even that much better.
Totally agree.
These are not great receivers that he's playing with right now. So I really want to see that. Running back wise, is this whole team is just kind of wait and see. You got Aaron Jones, you got Christian Watson. If they play them. If they don't, are you playing AJ Dillon?
No. For me personally, we've seen what he's done without Aaron Jones, and we just saw it this past week, guys. He ran the ball 11 times for 33 yards. That's it. There's nothing more than that. So there's just not enough high side for me there.
If he doesn't fall into the end zone, it's just you're going to be disappointed.
Exactly.
That's all there is to it. Yeah. All right. Anything else with this game you want to talk about?
No, I think it's interesting, John. I mean, hey, Detroit is +1, or is that Packers +1? I apologize.
It's Packers +1.
Packers
Detroit's favored by 1.
Okay, yeah. Detroit's -1, and the over/under is 46. Guys, this is really interesting line. I mean, if I'm John, you got a little second there. You got a little something up your sleeve. You want to fire it out there for the peeps?
Oh, you want to frank it up? Oh,
all right, guys.
Crank it up.
Crank it up. Crank it up.
We're gonna crank it up a bit. Yeah. So, guys, for me, my bet of the week, and you all know I love me some teases. I'm going to take that Packers +7, right? I'm going to take them +7 at home, and I'm going to take that over 40. I could totally see this being a 24-20 type of game, a 21-24 type of game. It's going to be heavy jam-packed. It's going to be a lot of fun. So for me, if you're interested in dabbling a little bit on Thursday night, check out that tease and see how it pans out for you.
All right, man. I love it. I know I'm putting my money there too. Good job, buddy. I love that. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Please stay tuned for our Friday episode. Is going to be our week 4 starts and sits, smash and pass, hit it and quit it. That's right. Smash. I'm smashing a lot this weekend.
Always.
Join us on Friday for that. Also, follow us on Instagram, guys. Follow us on social media. Instagram's a great follow. It's Frankly Fantasy Football. And don't forget, you're listening to this on all the podcast apps that you've got out there. Watch us on YouTube as well. Please go to YouTube and subscribe to it and smash the notification bell. It'll tell you every week. We've got 2 episodes going out every week, and you'll see when it's coming in every single time. Frankie, any parting words for me, brother?
Guys, wish you the absolute best of luck in your week 4 coming down the pipe, and I hope that you guys destroy your opponents. Good luck.
May the fantasy gods smile upon you. Bye.